the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Assistant Ministers, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament. I rise today in this August House to deliver my response to the 2026-2027 national budget. I would like to congratulate the Honorable Minister for Finance for delivering his first national budget. I also commend him for delivering a responsible, disciplined, and forward-looking budget at a time when Fiji is trying to navigate significant domestic and global economic challenges. This morning, when we hear the key response from the Shadow Minister for Finance, you can see that we have a confused opposition. And they've been singing different tunes, and they are not sure whether they're going or they're coming. And the Honorable Leader of the Opposition tried to put his parliamentary scrutiny hat this morning and tried to critique, but at the end, he fell into playing some cheap political point scoring at the end. And my honorable friend, Honorable Pravin Bala, he took the stand of cooperation and walking across the floor. And as we all know, that the opposition is, I think they are made up of two parties. One is the Fijians First Party, and the other one, the One Nation Party. And I hope they are not chasing for the same piece of cake. And the time will come when they'll try to campaign for the same voters. But again, sir, back to my budget address. The theme is a responsible budget for a sustainable future. Perfectly captures the difficult yet necessary choices before us as a nation. This budget recognizes that sustainable development cannot be achieved through excessive spending or short-term political expediency. Rather, it requires responsible fiscal management, strategic investment, sound governance, and unwavering commitment to improving the lives of every Fijian. This principle resonates strongly with the work of the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Risk Management. Mr. Speaker, sir, the budget acknowledges the physical realities confronting our nation while continuing to invest in sectors that generate long-term social and economic returns. It demonstrates that even with a constrained fiscal space, government remains committed in ensuring that development reaches every community, every village, every settlement, and every island across Fiji. For those of us entrusted with serving the rural and maritime communities, this budget carries a particular significance. It reinforces the coalition government's commitment that geography must never determine opportunity. It recognizes that our rural and maritime communities are not simply beneficiaries of government programs. They are the backbone of our nation, contributing to agriculture, fisheries, culture, and economic growth. They are the home of thousands of hardworking farmers, fishermen and women, foresters, entrepreneurs, women, youth, and traditional leaders whose contributions continue to sustain our national economy. Mr. Speaker, sir, 41% of Fiji's population, nearly half, continue to reside outside our major urban centers. Those communities produce much of the country's agricultural commodities, protect our forests, manage our marine resources, and preserve the traditional and values that define us as a people. Yet these same communities continue to face unique development challenges. Many continue to experience limited access to reliable roads, bridges, jetties, clean drinking water, quality housing, communication services, health facilities, and economic opportunities. Climate change has intensified these challenges. Increasingly severe tropical cyclones, prolonged droughts, flooding, coastal erosion, and rising sea level continue to place enormous pressure to rural livelihoods and critical infrastructure. Therefore, investing in rural and maritime development is no longer simply a social obligation. It is an economic necessity. It is an investment in national security and stability. It is an investment in inclusive growth. It is an investment in Fiji's future. Mr. Speaker, sir, we support government's approach in ensuring that public resources are utilized efficiently while maintaining the capacity needed to deliver essential services to our people. For the Ministry of Rural, Maritime Development and Disaster Risk Management, having the right people in the right place remains critical, particularly in our rural and maritime stations, where officers serve as the frontline link between workforce needs, between government and communities. We recognize the importance of reviewing workforce needs, improving efficiency, and strengthening coordination across government while ensuring that key areas such as disaster response, community engagement, rural development planning, and service delivery are adequately supported. Mr. Speaker, sir, we also acknowledge the importance of continued cost containment measures as government works to strengthen fiscal sustainability. At the same time, we must ensure that these measures do not compromise the delivery of essential services to our communities. Within the rural and maritime development and disaster risk management space, careful resource management allows government to continue investing in priority areas such as resilient infrastructure, community-based development programs, disaster preparedness initiative, and support for vulnerable communities. We remain committed to ensuring that every allocation is utilized responsibly and delivers meaningful outcomes for the people we serve. Mr. Speaker, sir, we acknowledge and support the continuation of measures to demonstrate government's commitment to fiscal responsibility, the prudent management of public resources at all levels of resources, particularly during challenging economic periods. This commitment reflects the need for leadership by example, while government continues to prioritize investments that directly improve the lives and livelihood of our people, especially those in the rural and maritime communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, maintaining overall expenditure at a responsible level while accommodating critical national priorities demonstrates government's commitment in balancing fiscal discipline with the need to continue supporting our people. For rural and maritime communities, continued investment remains essential to address long-standing development gaps and strengthen resilience against climate-related impacts and disasters. Through targeted programs and strategic partnership, government can continue delivering infrastructure, livelihood support, and essential services that improve the well-being of communities while ensuring responsible financial management. Mr. Speaker, sir, we recognize the importance of managing expenditure, growth, and restoring long-term fiscal sustainability, while fiscal responsibility must continue to be balanced with the need to invest in areas that generate lasting social and economic benefits. Investment in rural development, disaster risk reduction, climate resilience, and community infrastructure are not simple expenditures. They are measures that reduce future costs, protect livelihoods, and strengthen the ability of communities to withstand shocks. Mr. Speaker, sir, we believe that in investing wisely today, government is building a stronger and more resilient future for Fiji tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, sir, we support government's commitment in maintaining expenditure discipline over the medium term while ensuring that essential services and development priorities are protected. Moving forward, efficiency, innovation, and stronger coordination across government will be key to achieving the better outcome with available resources. For the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Risk Management, this means continuing to improve program delivery, strengthening partnership with communities and development partners, and ensuring that investments are targeted towards initiatives that create sustainable impact for rural and maritime communities across Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, we welcome government's continued focus on increasing capital investment, particularly in critical infrastructure that strengthen people's service delivery and improves the quality of life of our people. From the perspective of rural and maritime development and disaster risk management, investment in resilient infrastructure is fundamental to reducing vulnerabilities and supporting the sustainable development. Projects in such as flood mitigation, water infrastructure, road connectivity, and community facilities directly contribute to safer and more accessible communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, we acknowledge the importance of major infrastructure investment and the role of strong partnership in advancing Fiji's development aspirations. While large-scale projects continue to significantly to economic growth, it equally is important that development continues to reach our rural and maritime communities. Through collaboration with the development partners, government agencies, and stakeholders, we must continue to strengthen infrastructure and support inclusive growth, including rural connectivity and maritime services, climate resilience, and disaster reduction. The support of our development partners remains invaluable in ensuring technical capacity, mobilizing resources, and ensuring that Fiji's infrastructure development is sustainable, resilient, and responsive to the needs of all communities, including those in most remote areas. Mr. Speaker, sir, at a time when national issues are increasingly the subject of public discussion, I respectfully urge honourable members to ensure that Fiji's national debt is approached with responsibility, balance, and objectively. The debt we carry today reflects the investment made over many years, including those undertaken to respond to the unprecedented challenges of such as COVID-19 pandemic, natural disaster, and development of critical national infrastructure. Rather than reducing a complex economic issue to political rhetoric, we owe it to the Fijian people to engage in honest, evidence-based discussions that foster confidence in our nation's economic future. Ultimately, what matters is not simply the debt level, but how it is managed, whether it remains sustainable, and whether it delivers lasting benefits to improve the livelihoods of our people. Fiscal responsibility is a shared national responsibility that must always arise above short-term political consideration. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development Disaster Risk Management has continued to strengthen its delivery of development programs across Fiji, with project implementation increasing steadily over the past 4 financial years. From 2022 to 2023 to 2025 to 2026, the Ministry successfully implemented a total of 1,239 projects nationwide, increasing annual project delivery from 150 projects in 2022 to 2023 to 380 in 2025 and 2026. These projects have directly improved access to essential infrastructure, housing, water, livelihoods, disaster resilience of rural and maritime communities throughout the country. The Ministry's achievements by program includes rural housing assistance in the year 2023 to 2026, 385 projects. Community access roads, footpaths, and footbridges in the period of 2023 to 2026, 223 projects. Self-help program, 192 projects in 3 years. High-risk water and sanitation, 124 projects in 3 years. Seafaring entrepreneur assistance, 113 projects in the period of 2 years. Rural Outer Island Development Program, 87 projects in 2 years. Evacuation centers, 73 open projects and commissioned in the last 2 years. Government quarters, we improved 19. Risk-informed development, we've done 11 projects. Disaster risk reduction, we've done another 11 projects. Plus, and the list goes on and on and on. And I can recite this till midnight, what government has achieved in the last 2 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, these statistics highlight government's continued investment in improving the quality of life of our rural maritime communities. Through these programs, we have delivered safer homes, improved road access, reliable water, sanitation system, strengthened disaster preparedness, enhanced livelihoods, and better government infrastructure across all 4 divisions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Risk Management has been allocated 35.4 million in this 2026-2027 national budget to continue delivering programs that directly improve the quality of life of our people living outside urban centers. While these represent a reduction from the previous financial year, the allocation reflects government's broader commitment to fiscal discipline while maintaining investment in programs that produce tangible outcomes for rural communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget is not about spending more, it's rather about spending smarter and prioritizing programs that produce measurable improvement in livelihoods, resilience, and economic opportunity. Every dollar entrusted in my ministry will be directed towards initiatives that strengthen our rural and maritime communities, stimulate rural economies, and improve service delivery. Mr. Speaker, sir, I particularly commend the government for this continued commitment to the Rural Outer Island Development Program and rural housing assistance, with each receiving an allocation of $3 million in this budget. These two flagship programs remain the cornerstone of ministry's work in transforming the lives of people living in rural and maritime and outer island communities. They demonstrate government's unwavering resolve to ensure that development is not confined to urban centers, but reaches every village, settlement, island, creating opportunities where our people live and work. Mr. Speaker, sir, the ROI program continues to complement and strengthen agriculture, fisheries, and forestry through value-adding initiatives, processing facilities, cold storage, infrastructure, and improved market access, enabling rural communities to generate sustainable livelihood and participate more meaningfully in the national economy. Likewise, the continued investment in the Rural Housing Assistance Program will allow more deserving families to access safer, resilient, and engineered homes that can be better withstand natural disaster. With more than 8,000 applications received over the past 3 years, this continued allocation recognizes the significant demand that still exists and reinforces our commitment to ensuring that every Fijian family has an opportunity to live in dignity and security. I also warmly welcome the significant increase in funding for construction and retrofitting of evacuation center, which has been increased by $1 million. As Minister responsible for disaster risk management, I know firsthand that investing in resilient infrastructure helps protect lives, communities. Climate-induced disasters are becoming more frequent and intense, and communities must have access to evacuation facilities that are safe, accessible, and capable of meeting minimum standards during emergency. Mr. Speaker, sir, I further commend the increased allocation of $3 million for the community access road, footpath, footbridges. Reliable access infrastructure remains fundamental in rural communities and development because it connects people to schools, health facilities, markets, and essential government services. For many rural families, a properly constructed access road or footbridge is a way to economic opportunity, improve education, and better health care, and greater social cohesion. Complementing this investment is the continued funding for the Sawanikula to Tumbarua Road project, which will advance a second phase of this transformational initiative in the remote district of Noimalu in the interior of Naitasiri. Once completed, this road will improve connectivity for several remote villages, reduce travel hardship, facilitate agricultural production and market access, and improve access to education, health services, such as investment, reaffirm government's commitment to ensuring that no community remains isolated because of geography. Mr. Speaker, I commend the increase of funding in self-help project program, which will now receive $1.3 million. This project continues to empower communities to enable them to identify and implement projects directly on their own priorities, whether through community infrastructure, income-generating initiative, disaster preparedness project, or social development activities. The program promotes community ownership, self-reliance, and sustainable local development. Mr. Speaker, I also commend government for its continued investment into upgrade and advancement of government staff quarters, with now a $1.6 million allocation, which will help in the refurbishment of staff quarters at our Wunisea government station in Kandava, and a further $1.9 million for the upgrading of existing quarters across the Central and Western Division. These allocations will enable the Ministry to complete maintenance and repair works of 33 staff quarters in Bunia and 26 quarters in the Central and Western Division. Mr. Speaker, sir, many of our officers who are stationed in remote and maritime locations, often separated from their family and working under challenging conditions, to ensure that essential government services reach every Fijian, providing them with safe and modern and well-maintained accommodation, creates a conducive and professional living environment that enhances the staff's morale, promotes productivity, and supports the retention of experienced officers in those remote areas. Mr. Speaker, sir, for the Ministry of Maritime, Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Risk Management, this project provides the confidence and the resources to continue delivering practical outcomes for our people, whether through safer homes, improved roads and road crossing, reliable water supply, strengthened disaster preparedness, or enhanced support for rural livelihood. Every investment contributes towards our shared vision of creating sustainable and resilient rural maritime communities. These are investments that will continue to deliver dividends for generations of Fijians. Mr. Speaker, sir, just before I take my seat, this budget reflects responsible leadership during the period when prudence, discipline, and long-term planning are more important than ever. It demonstrates that this coalition government remains committed to putting the interests of the people first, while laying strong foundation for sustainable economic growth and national resilience. I therefore commend the Honourable Minister for Finance for presenting a responsible, forward-looking budget, and I fully support the 2026-2027 national budget. You now, Mr. Speaker.